Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 22nd of October and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. The first topic is that Russia asking India to pay in Yuan. For what? For the oil imports which India is doing. Now after the Russia-Ukraine war started in February 2022, the Western companies and the Western governments, they imposed sanctions on Russia and stopped importing energy imports from Russia. Those imports were stopped and it led to rise of oil prices also across the world. India increased its energy imports from Russia on the other hand because India was getting discounted oil. As the global prices were rising of oil, it was becoming difficult to settle the payments in dollars. So we found out another, alternate, and that alternate was Emirati dirhams. Some of the payments later on we started in Yuan also. And finally, we made a deal with Russia that we will be settling these payments in INR, Indian National Rupee. But due to this trade imbalance, means Russia is exporting a lot more to India as compared to India exporting to Russia. A lot of INR is accumulated with Russia, and according to a minister of Russia, he said that we don't know what to do of this, much INR. And that is why now Russia is asking India to pay in Yuan, that is Chinese currency. So we'll see in detail what kind of, issues are there in this topic. Next is Namo Bharat. Namo Bharat is basically a train which was earlier named as Rapidex. It is a semi-high speed rail, maximum speed 160, average speed 100 kmph. This train will run where? This train will run on the Regional Rapid Transit System RRTS, which is connecting Delhi and Meerut. Now, the basic details I've already given you of this. But yes, why was it in news? It was in news because the first phase of this Delhi and Meerut RRTS was inaugurated. The first phase from Sahibabad till Duhai Depot. The entire stretch from Delhi to Meerut will be operational by 2025 it is expected. So this is basically what we are going to cover. And finally the last topic, that is graphite. Why was graphite in news? It was in news because China has said that we may stop exporting graphite to other countries because we will be using graphite more and more in our country. For what purpose? We will be using it for making EVs, that is electric vehicles. The batteries in EVs, basically graphite is used in those batteries. Now China is also sensing one thing, that the demand for EVs are going to increase year by year. So these three topics we will be covering. Now the first topic, Russia asking India to pay in Yuan. Russia basically, after the Russia-Ukraine war, when a lot of sanctions were imposed on Russia by the West, many multinational companies, they have packed their bags in Russia and gone back, not doing any business with Russia. So Russia was on a lookout for new business partners. Simultaneously, Russia was around the 8th biggest supplier of oil to India. But slowly and gradually, by the end of 2022, Russia became the biggest supplier of oil to India. Amid all this, global oil prices were rising, although India was getting discounted oil from Russia. But yes, things were getting difficult. And it was difficult to pay Russia in dollars also. So we found another way, that was Emirati dirhams. Some of the payments later on started to be paid in Chinese yuan also. And finally, we made a deal with them that we will be doing the payments in INR also. Now, two things happened after this. One thing was a lot of INR was accumulated with Russia due to the trade imbalance between Russia and India. And the Russian minister said that what will we do of so much accumulated INR? We don't know what to do. So this trade imbalance definitely did not work in favor of Russia, although it was in favor of India. On the other hand, simultaneously, the second thing which happened was that Russian imports from China denominated in yuan increased. 2021, only 3% of Russia's imports were denominated in yuan. 2022, around 20% of Russian imports were denominated in yuan. This was a drastic, I would say, increase in yuan denominated imports in Russia. And for that, Russia needed yuan to settle those payments of imports. And now it is telling India, if you are taking energy imports from us, pay us in yuan. Now, according to some reports, the last 7 consignments are not paid yet because the stakeholders, they are thinking in what, or they are negotiating with each other in what currency the payment has to be done. India definitely does not want to pay those imports in Chinese yuan. We may have to start looking for alternatives because we definitely do not want to pay in yuan because it will increase the demand of yuan and strengthen yuan. Because in this time, we want Indian national rupee to be strengthened. So this is the entire issue which we will see in detail. Now, Russia asking for India to pay in yuan, and Russia is less keen to accept rupees for its export of oil to India. Why Russia is less keen? Because bilateral trade balance is tilted in Moscow's favor, means Russia is exporting more to India and importing less. The rupee is also not a fully convertible currency. Fully convertible currency simply means that its demand is high. Whenever the demand of any currency is high, it gets fully convertible, means you give $100, you get the amount with respect to $100 with you. Those currencies which are less in demand or less popular, they are not completely convertible. A certain portion is kept by the authorities with them and the rest of the amount is given, which makes these currencies further less in demand. So that is basically there. Meanwhile, Russia's economy has become even more reliant on China. The statistics is that around 3% of Russia's imports from China were denominated in yuan, means China had to pay or settle the payments for those imports in Chinese yuan. In 2021, this was the figure, that is 3%. In 2022, this figure has increased to 20%. So means Russia also needs more and more yuan to settle those payments. And Russia is exporting oil to India, and then Russia is putting this pressure on India by pay us in yuan, because your INR you are giving us is sitting idle. It is it is not fully convertible. It is less in demand. So we've accumulated a lot of INR, and of that we don't know what to do. So it is this peculiar position in which India is right now, and India is definitely pushing back that we do not want to pay in yuan. What happened in the recent past? Russia-Ukraine war, February 2022. After the Russia-Ukraine war, actually, oil prices went up. The West stopped importing energy imports from Russia. Russia was looking for new trade partners. India was one of them. India started getting discounted oil from Russia. Slowly and gradually, Russia became the top, or I would say the biggest supplier of oil to India. At one point of time, before the Russia-Ukraine war in 2021, it was the 8th biggest supplier of oil to India. Now, oil imports from Russia are there, very high in India. India was looking for settling the payments. So, dollars was one way. Second way was Emirati dirhams. and a few of the payments were done in Yuan also. But majority the payments were done in dollars and dirhams. This was, I would say, dominating among the currencies used for settling the energy imports with Russia. In 2023, India also struck a deal and said that we will be doing payments in INR. So in 2023 only, since the oil imports are more, India's economy is also booming, so demand of oil is high over here. And Russia has become the highest supplier or biggest supplier of oil to India. So a lot of INR payments were done to Russia, and due to which Russia is saying that we have accumulated a lot of INR. So Russia is saying that we want Yuan. In this, you settle the payments. Dollar, so chalo, is out of picture because Russia does not want to strengthen dollar. Chalo, it is also in our favor kind of, because for us the demand of dollar will weaken Indian rupee. Dirhams is in favor with us because we have considerable amount of trade with West Asia. Okay. A CEPA was also signed with UAE last year, 2022. So this we have. This we may not have that much, plus we don't want to pay in this because this will strengthen Chinese yuan and it is not in our favor. We want most of it over here. We want to be settling maximum payments by INR. But, Russia is not willing to accept it. Now, one more thing which we need to know is from whom in Russia we purchase oil. Is it the private players or the government entities? Now, the private players, if I talk about them, maximum of our oil import is coming from, traders. Most of their Russian oil from traders we are buying, while making some direct purchases from Russian entities, means government entities. Now these traders, they are okay. You can pay us in Emirati dirhams also, dollars also, yuan also, and INR also. INR less preferring they are. But the government entities, they are more and more pushing for yuan. That they want payment in yuan. And here we are facing a problem. Although maximum of our oil is not coming from them, maximum of our oil is coming from these people. But the government, I would say, entities like Rosneft and all are there, those are government owned companies, entities of Russia. They are saying that, payment in yuan. Now, a report card of the Indian importers also. State-run Indian Oil Corporation, the top refiner in India, previously used yuan and other currency to pay for Russian oil. They have yuan in their kitty, so they are using it. Other state refiners, Bharat Petroleum Corp, Hindustan Petroleum, have not paid for oil in yuan because they do not have that, and that is making difficult for them to pay in yuan, and that is where the complexity is. Why is India pushing back? So see, Government of India has a clear stand that settling payments in yuan for Russian oil is not banned. You can do it, however, we do not want to promote that. Government does not want to facilitate it. It is going to be against the stance of the government, but it is not banned. This is the clear stand of the government. I would say a ministry official has said this, that it is not banned, and if a private firm has yuan to settle its trade, the government will not stop it, but it will neither encourage nor facilitate such trade. This is what they are saying. And why they are saying it? There are three reasons for that, and these are also speculated reasons. First is, promoting yuan over rupee would hinder New Delhi's, means India's attempt to internationalize INR. Second, it also argued that Modi government doing so ahead of the 2024 polls will definitely, invite a lot of criticism. So, the political angle is also here. And the third was that India is the only country in the BRICS bloc. Now, the BRICS bloc, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they were wanting to introduce one common currency, the R5 project we've talked about earlier. Now, this R5 project, India was opposing. Why India was opposing? Because, India was, I would say, speculating that this R5, a common currency, whatever the currency will be denominated or named as, will be linked more with Yuan, and it will further increase Yuan's dominance. So, this is what was the reason why we were opposing this. We do not want dominance of Yuan, and here in this case also, in, I would say, settling Russian payments in Yuan, we do not want it because, it will strengthen Yuan and it will not let INR to be strengthened. We are dreaming of INR to be strengthened. It would be better for us to, if Russians are not accepting in INR, it would be better for us to settle the payments in dirhams or maybe dollars. It will be a big dilemma for India whether to go for dollars or Yuan then. So, this is basically the entire issue which needs to be understood. The Namo Bharat. Namo Bharat is the name of a train. That train will run on semi-high speed rails, that is maximum speed will be 160 km per hour, average speed 100 km per hour. Where that train will run? That train will run on that route from Meerut to New Delhi. But hold on, this entire route Meerut to Delhi is termed as a rapid rail transit system which is newly constructed. This transit system will facilitate such high speed commute. But this entire stretch from Delhi to Meerut is not operational yet. It will be operational in 2025. Then what's the point of discussion? The point of discussion is simply this, because a certain section of this Delhi to Meerut, that is from Sahibabad till Duhai Depot, which they are calling it as phase 1, has become operational. And that is why this was in news. So, let us look into the details of this Namo Bharat train. Phase 1 or rapid rail transit system connecting Sahibabad to Duhai Depot was inaugurated. Total length 82 kilometers, Meerut to Delhi. Total cost 30,274 crores, roughly 3.8 billion US dollars. Entire corridor operational by 2025 means from Delhi till Meerut. Transit type semi-high speed, operational speed of 160 km per hour. This is basically the maximum. And average speed will be 100 km per hour. Now, this is basically that route. Jangpura, Sarai Kale Khan, New Ashok Nagar, Anand Vihar. Till here is Delhi. Sahibabad, Ghaziabad, all this is basically UP. And which has been operational from Sahibabad till Duhai. This is now open. The entire stretch from Modipuram till Jangpura, it will be open by 2025. Actually, there were such other transit corridors which were proposed for Delhi Panipat or Delhi Alwar also. But this was given more preference as compared to them because more number of commuters, daily commuters, those we call as the floating population, is here commuting. So, this is why this was given more preference. Now, you need to know the sources of funding also, and there's one very important, I would say, analysis over here in sources of funding. So, first we look into it and then I'll come on to the analysis. First is multilateral funding, means multilateral banks, financial institutions giving funding for this. $1 billion from Asian Development Bank, ADB, $500 million from New Development Bank, which is basically under BRICS, we studied about it, and $500 million from Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. This is headquartered in China. Although India is also a contributor in it. One day separately in a video, I will be covering these three financial institutions. Don't worry, the basics of these. Out of which NDB we've already covered. But, one spectacular feature or spectacular analysis of this sources of funding is that World Bank is absent. And any such infrastructure project in India, World Bank was the first to source funds, or World Bank was very common. And this highlights the fact that countries all over the world, they are looking for alternate sources of funding, and these are some alternate sources of funding which have been developed by the developing countries only, because developing countries felt that they experienced a lot of discrimination in such, I would say, Western dominated multilateral bodies like United Nations. It is a specialized agencies in United Nations, this World Bank, and United Nations is dominated by the West. So this is what was the reforms which were aiming in these kind of entities, and we developed alternatives to it, and these are the alternatives. Asian Development Bank was established way back earlier, but specifically talking about NDB and AIIB. So this is the significance of it. This is, you can use these kind of facts, or I would say data, in your answers when it comes to multilateral reforms and all, especially in the financial institutions. Then there have been contributions from governments also. As we saw that it is passing through Delhi and Uttar Pradesh, so governments of Delhi and Uttar Pradesh, they are contributing. Although Delhi government 3.22%, Uttar Pradesh government 16.78%, means 20% collectively they are funding, 20% coming from Government of India, 40%, and the rest 60%, this is coming from these sources of funding. Although as a loan it is taken, and it will be repaid by the stakeholders in this program, Rapid Regional Transit System. So this is basically all that you need to know about this RRTS. Next is graphite. China has recently said that it may stop exports of graphite. Exports of graphite. Why? Because graphite is used as a raw material in making batteries for EVs, electric vehicles. This is something which is kind of a new age material we can classify, because it is used in making these kind of new age technology. The world is going to shift or transform towards using more and more EVs as compared to petrol or diesel vehicles, and China is eyeing for that. Not only China, even countries like India is also eyeing for it. Graphite, apart from being used in making batteries, it has multiple other usages also, like it is a very good conductor of heat and electricity. So it is used in electronic products as well. It is basically used in making pencils also, like the nib of the pencil, that black color which you see from which you write, that is also made of graphite. It has multiple usages. So let us look into the details of this graphite, and then we'll come to know. China has unveiled plans to restrict exports of graphite, which is used in manufacturing of batteries for electric vehicles. Now, properties of graphite: it is a grayish black opaque substance, lighter than diamond, smooth and slippery to touch it is, good conductor of electricity and heat, crystalline solid, soapy to touch. Soapy means it is kind of slippery and frothy. Non-inflammable, it does not catches fire. Soft due to weak van der Waals forces. Van der Waals forces are those forces which hold the element together, and since they are weak, that is why it is kind of spongy also. Soft. The conductor of electricity it is a good conductor of electricity, which we have already seen. So these are some properties of graphite which you need to know, and UPSC, you don't know, can ask questions in prelims. Next is applications. From here also a question can be posed that which of the following are applications of graphite. It is used in pencils, lubricants, crucibles, foundry facings. These are basically used in industries, basically refinery industries, where the foundry is there, means where the heat and all is there, and as a lining it can be used over there. Then polishes, arc lamps, batteries. This is why China is saying that it does not want to export graphite, it wants to use it for itself for making batteries. Brushes for electric motors, and cores of nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors core where the actual reaction, nuclear fission reaction happens. Now, where is it mined? You also need to know that. China, India, Brazil, North Korea and Canada. These are the major producers of graphite. It is nothing but an allotrope of carbon with rich carbon content and multiple usages. Completely factual in nature this topic was. So, we've covered 3 topics today, that is the Russia-India oil payments, settlements, I would say not dispute but the issue right now in there, because Russia wants increased payments in Yuan. The second topic was Namo Bharat train, rapid regional transit system. This kind of transit system is required for India because it definitely, population is increasing. Economic activity is increasing, so people will commute from one place to the other place, and we need to conserve our environment also in all this. So definitely this will help us to reduce pollution. It will also help us to reduce accidents on the roads, due to which a lot of lives are lost. Then the third topic is, which we covered, was graphite, where China said that we are going to stop export of graphite. So this was today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow with more such important news pieces. Till then, you guys know very well what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste, Jai Hind.